Welcome. This is another video in our series of videos explaining our proposals for the 2012 election. In this video, I'm going to focus on our estate tax proposal, leaving the corporate tax code and the individual tax code to other videos, or you can read about them on our website. It is a sad commentary when you get your political inspiration from the likes of a Paris Hilton. But this is where I find myself. Let me explain. What would Paris Hilton been without her famous name and inherited fortune? Perhaps the girl next door? Maybe a female firefighter? I know. How about President of the United States? The truth is, we'll never know what Paris Hilton could have been or what she could have achieved because she never had to work a day in her life. The trust department business has a name for this. They call it the Lucky Sperm Club or a trust fund baby. Why should a child of a poor or middle-class family start life out at a disadvantage to a child of a wealthy family? Is it fair that descendants of wealth may not have to work a day in their lives or make any meaningful contribution to society? We must ask ourselves as individuals and as a nation, do we want a nation and a society that is a meritocracy where people are rewarded on their hard work and contribution, or an aristocracy where the ruling class inherits wealth and power that perpetuates itself throughout many generations? Now, just a warning. My inheritance tax proposal will be both shocking and offensive to those individuals who are affected, but I think it's fair. While you are alive, you'll be taxed at a significantly lower rate. You'll be allowed generous tax credit for charitable contributions. And of course, you'll be able to supply your family and friends with all the benefits of wealth, including private education, travel, and various creatures of comfort. But when you die, under our inheritance tax proposal, you'll be able to pass along the first $5 million of your estate tax-free, with the remaining estate taxed at 90%. There will, of course, be credits for charitable contributions. As an example, an estate valued at $20 million would be taxed at $13.5 million, leaving the estate with $6.5 million. Not fair, you say? While you were alive, you were able to prosper and flourish in a society and a country that offered both hope and opportunity. The wealth you accumulated came from society at large, so at your death, the bulk of your estate will be returned to society. Much has been made of the Occupy Wall Street movement and the focus on the top 1%. The rallying cry that the top 1% have accumulated a disproportionate amount of power and wealth is correct, because with wealth comes power. The power to lobby and formulate legislation that perpetuates their elevated status. Since early 1970s, real family income has barely increased for the bottom 99%, but has tripled for the top 1%. The disparity in wealth is even more glaring. The wealthiest 1% hold 1/3 of all household wealth and about 1/2 of all financial wealth. In contrast, the bottom 90% of households hold about 30% of the total wealth and only 10% of the financial wealth. If you are part of the 1% or even the top 10%, you cannot allow this trend to persist, because if you do, the bottom 90% will rise up when they feel have nothing to lose. The revolt may not be relatively peaceful like the Occupy Wall Street movement. It is more likely to incorporate significant property damage, loss of life, with blood in the streets. If you're still not convinced, take your lesson from history. The let them eat cake attitude of the French elite was the catalyst for their demise. The phrase heads will roll was meant literally and figuratively. The French had a word for it: the guillotine. Ancient history, you say? Look at the present day riots in Greece. So my estate tax will most likely not be embraced by the top 1%, but I hope they would see the pending disaster in maintaining the status quo. The alternative is to enjoy the fruits of their labor while you're alive, but distribute their assets back to society at their death. I wish to honor Paris Hilton by naming the inheritance tax the Paris Hilton tax. Paris to remind us of the French Revolution, and Hilton to remind us of a financial dynasty that never should have been. Thank you for your time.